So in this video, I'm going to share with you a live sales training behind the scenes action of me training my team. After training on this one topic, one of the most important topics, my team absolutely blew up. For example, one of the agents sold 4 policies that same day after watching this training. Another agent sold 3 policies after watching this training and training with them. And then I had a new agent who has never sold more than 2 policies their whole entire life, sold 7 policies this week after going through this training. And what I want to share with you guys is one of the most important topics I like to call waving the magic wand or finding the value. If you can learn how to master this, it's going to be in the training, multiple portions. In the beginning, the middle, and the end, you will become unstoppable and make more money than any agent out there and sell more policies. This is the exact blueprint, the exact framework, and I use in my sales presentation that has helped me sell hundreds and hundreds of final expense life insurance policies over the phone, and I want to give this training to you for free. Ultimately, I want to give you everything for you to succeed so you can actually make money in this industry. So go ahead and plug into this training. This is exactly how I train my team to help them become successful and help them sell over 40 to 50 policies every month. If you want to learn how to become a winner, watch this video. I'd love to hear your feedback. Hopefully it helps you win and make more money in this industry. Awesome. Enjoy. Cheers.
So I want to go through a few situations here. I'm going to share with you how I handle it, and then we're going to go back to you. So I think if we can identify how to create value, how to basically create the image that we are going to be offering them something that is, what they actually need, what they want, we can help them make a decision. It's going to make the sales process a lot easier. So let's say, think about the situation. You're going to wave the magic wand and create the value. When you think there's no value, you got to find a way to create the value. So when someone off the jump is like, hey, I already have life insurance. I'm just kind of looking around. I already have a $20,000 policy and it's at a really good price. Tyler, what are you thinking in your head?
Gotcha. So you were just worried you wanted to leave a little bit extra behind. Is that what you were thinking, or?
Exactly. Josh, we'll stop it here. Josh, I have a $20,000 great price. I just, wanted to, just was looking around. What would you say?
Gotcha, Peter. I guess, were you looking to leave a little extra behind, or what were you thinking?
Okay. And then Brandy, why would you lead with that? Explain why would you lead with that compared to why do you think they responded that way?
Because you mean instead of asking what else are you concerned about?
Yeah. So
I guess because the response that they're going to give is going to allow you to move forward. You're not at the dive deeper portion yet.
Yeah. So you're creating the frame. So if Tyler, you're probably going to say this, but if you know that they already have a good situation, you're not going to be like, okay, it sounds like you just wanted to, see if you could save money. There's no value there. You have to basically pre-frame as I'm going to create the value. I'm going to wave this wand. I'm going to convince them that they were looking around because I can't. You have your insurance toolkits up. You know that you can't beat the price. Let's say you can't beat the price. Now you have to sell them on why they need more coverage, and that's what you structure your whole frame around. What were you saying?
Yeah, I was gonna say a really rookie agent would maybe be like, "Oh, you got 20,000 already? Wow, you should be good. That should get everything done. Why are you even looking?" And not building any value, just kind of feel defeated. Oh, I can't even do anything here. But then if you're like, "Oh, gotcha." So, when you saw this on Facebook and filled it out, you probably were just curious what it would look like to add on a little bit extra, maybe leave a little bit extra behind. Is that kind of what you were thinking here? Or, and then even if they weren't really thinking about it, then they're all of a sudden yeah, that's what I was thinking. And then now you have an opportunity to sell them a small, little policy.
Yeah, some extra there. That's where the value is. The value in the sale, if someone already has coverage in a good position, is literally just structuring your words around, do they even want to add on coverage? Now, some people will truly I just wanted to see if I can replace that product. Now, let's say I have a $7,000 policy, Tyler, and yeah, I already have some coverage at $7,000. It's a really good price, and they're going for the burial expenses. I just wanted to see if I can find something cheaper, and you can't find anything cheaper. How do you guys respond to that? Where's the value in that call?
And they want to do a burials, you're saying?
Yeah.
Only got 7,000.
I'll stop you there. Josh, what do you think the value is? How would you pitch the product? What's one of the first questions? What are some questions that you'd ask to see what they're looking for?
Okay, got you, Peter. It just sort of sounds like to me that maybe you feel like that 7,000 isn't enough for your burial expenses. Is that your concern?
Brandy, is that a good question?
It can be.
That's
My mind like went somewhere else. I don't know if this is any better, but
Mhm.
just like, okay, so wow, you're paying that much for 7,000, and I mean, you said you wanted to go, the formal burial route. Were you looking to like see if you could get a little bit more coverage and maybe not just something that fits the budget? Is that kind of what you were thinking?
Yeah, so I would stop it. Josh was right there. So when they have 7,000 at a good price for $30, the only thing that you can do is then create the value gap of they don't have enough to take care of their full family expenses, because you have to sell them on, okay, well the barrels are $10,000 to $15,000. Brandy, are you concerned that with that $7,000 that's not going to be enough to cover that full burial expenses? And they're going to say yes. And then when they say yes, Tyler, what's the next question that you ask? Or Brandy, if I say yes? Yeah, that's all I'm concerned about. I just don't think I have enough to cover the full burial expenses. What's the next question that you would ask, Brandy?
Um, well, I would summarize at that point and be like, okay, so I guess, just kind of feeling uneasy that you don't quite fully have that full amount to cover those burial expenses. So, I guess just maybe like 5 to 7,000 to add on to that. Is that kind of what you're looking for?
Let's say I say yes to that. What's the next deeper question?
So your beneficiary is listed as Josh here. Just as it stands right now, God forbid, if something were to happen, would Josh be able to come up with that extra like 5,000?
Yep, there you go. Correct. That's where the value is. Right there is that 5, that little gap there, that little circumstance that they have, that extra amount. That's what you're going to stress on. That's what you're going to sell them on, is like, okay, so that $3,000 to $5,000, that's going to probably fall on him, right? Someone else. Oh, okay. So when you click, like when you filled this out, you just didn't want, you realize that you have enough coverage here, but you're just worried with inflation and the increase in things, that if there are any extra bills, like $3,000 to $5,000 left over, you just want something small to be there for you, so Josh is not coming out of pocket. And that's exactly what the problem is there. That's where you created that value, because you asked the right questions. You got to understand, like with the product, if you can't really put them in that, like some people just don't have life insurance, and you can just go ahead and sell them life insurance normally. But most people, if they do have life insurance, you're just trying to find it. Can you help them find them cheaper? Can you help them find additional coverage to solve their real problem? And then lastly, can you go ahead and maybe replace their policy and just give them a better policy, something like that. But that is I think that is one of the biggest things that we sometimes forget, is how can we create that value when they feel like, okay, because there is some real problem. We just have to understand what the exact and root problem is of why they are speaking with you today. Tyler, what's a good situation that you get a lot that you think get to create value?
I love what you're saying, because I feel like most of my sales I've squeezed out because of, like, I'm sitting there feeling like, excuse me, a detective and trying to like sniff out what the real problem is.
Yeah.
And like, to me, it always feels almost like a game, like a challenge in a way, like to like play with my words to just like kind of figure out what's going on. And then like, you, I don't know, you're trying to actually serve them. So it's like that. If you don't have that mindset, you'll miss so many sales. So it's true what you're saying. But for a scenario, I don't know. I get a lot of it's all over the place, but I get a lot of recently of people with really bad policies. And I think if I didn't ask the right questions or build enough trust, like the lady yesterday had a policy, and she wouldn't tell me anything about her current policy when in the beginning of the call. Like, I was asking, she's like, why do you need to know any of that? Why do you need to know? What does that matter? And I was like, okay. And so I was like, doesn't really matter, but I guess how much are you paying? And like, she wouldn't tell me what company it was with. And then like towards the end of the call, she starts telling me all about the policy she has because she trusted me now, and was like, have you even heard of this company? Are they a good company? And like wanted me to like, so I don't know. You got to like build enough trust to where they'll open up to you about all these things we're trying to dive deeper in, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't have like I'm kind of tired. I don't have like a good made up scenario to role play. Is that what you were asking me?
Yeah, I was just thinking about, because like you create and manufacture that value. That's one of the things I think that's that gap. If you can create, because like if she's there's two things that you do there well. Number one, you got to get their guard down where they're willing to share that information, and that's why that kindness and the candor of like, all right, I like this person, Josh, I like this person, Brandy. they're willing to give up information. Information is what we need to use that against them in a way that we can understand what their problem is. And then you just got to find what that root problem is. Let's say I have a $10,000 policy. I'll give you a situation, $10,000 policy, and I have all my burial expenses taken care of. But I'm worried if something happens to me, I go to the hospital, or I want to leave money behind to my grandkids. I have 4 grandkids, and I already have a $10,000 policy. And you're trying to sell me burial expenses. Like, what's one of the first questions that you'll ask here, Josh, in the discovery?
Hey, Peter. So I see you actually do have $10,000 for those burial expenses. I guess what was it that you were mainly concerned about in looking for more coverage?
Yeah, I'm gonna change the situation up, and Brandy can respond. Yeah, I have that policy now. It's like a term, and I just want to make sure that when that expires, that I have something for the grandkids.
Okay, gotcha. So your current policy, did they give you like an age that it was going to expire at?
Yeah, another 3 years. When I turn 79, it's gonna be gone.
Oh wow, 3 years. Okay, and so Peter, have you thought about what would happen if you outlive that policy?
I think it just won't go away, but I just want to make sure I leave something behind for my grandkids.
Okay, so it sounds like it's really important that you do have something set aside for your grandkids on top of covering those burial expenses. Now, dang, I don't know what
I'd
to
be
say.
like, crap, Peter. So, sounds like it's kind of been keeping you up at night. You realized your coverage is about to run out. Were you looking for something a little more permanent, something that's going to be guaranteed to pay out to those grandkids and kind of cover the burial expenses? That's what you're looking for, right?
Yeah. So I'm gonna share with you the differences there for you, Brandy. Yours assumed that he wants his burial expenses taken care of. Tyler asked the question as that right that you want your burial expenses taken care of. So always ask the question. Don't ever assume, because right now you're assuming that the problem here, the value in this call is that his policy expires. Even though I'm telling you I only want my grandkids protected, you got to understand, you got to help them create that value where when that policy expires, now he doesn't have burial insurance and now he has nothing for his kids. So the value is he wants something for both rather than just the grandkids. So, and John, when that policy does expire, were you concerned that did you want something that's going to be there for your burial as well, since that's not going to be there? And you're going to respond yes. Okay, so you get the affirmation yes. So you want something for the burial expenses, and then even when that policy expires, you'd probably want to leave a little extra for the grandkids if you could, right? Yes. And then now you know exactly what he's looking for. Now it's just your job to find it. You just need to have a clear, like an arrow. Like, I know what this guy wants. How can I find him exactly what he's looking for?
Wow. Yeah, that's huge. I've been struggling. This is probably one of the biggest things I've been struggling with, is just these questions that come up, how to create the value, how to ask the question in a way where I will get the answer that I need to move forward.
I like what Tyler said. That's a really good analogy. Become a detective. I like to say, have a childlike curiosity. Like, be like almost like, what's going on here? Like open up the clouds. Like, okay, let me just put the pieces together. What's going on here? Like, that's why I never like to assume. I like to ask the questions, and then when I have the questions answered, I have the evidence to assume. So you only assume when you have the evidence, rather than the way that you get that evidence is just asking questions. Like, okay, you can ask more questions than you need. Okay, so you have that. It's going to expire on you. Like, when that expires, like, what would you say you're most concerned about? And then you can ask another question. You can just keep breaking them down. Is the goal is just break them away, chip them away to understand what is the root of their issue. So let's try that again. Josh, I'll start with you. Josh, I just want something to leave behind to the grandkids. I already have like a really good policy at Mutual O Mall for $10,000. I've been paying on it for, I had it for it's a $50,000 policy. I've been paying on it for about 20 years. It's like $12 a month. I don't want to replace that. I just want to leave something behind to the grandkids.
Gotcha. Okay, Peter. So it sounds like to me you do have a good amount of coverage here. You do want to leave some money behind to the grandkids. I guess, with that 50,000, what was it that you were kind of mainly concerned about here?
50,000. Okay, structure that question differently.
Okay, I can do that.
You don't want to attack his policy. You want to understand what's going on in his situation. So, you have that 50,000 now. Like, how would I say? Sorry, forgive me there. So I would say, no, since you have the policy now, yeah, it just sounded goofy. It didn't make sense when you asked
Okay,
it.
I can do it again.
Yeah, try me again.
Okay.
So yeah, Josh, I just have the $50,000 policy. I found out it's gonna like expire. This is just something I just want to maybe have extra to the grandkids.
Okay. And Peter, here I see that you do have a lot of insurance here. You got 50,000. You want to make sure that you leave some to the grandkids. Sounds like you're a little concerned about it eventually expiring. Is that all that you were concerned about here?
Sure. Yeah, I'd say so. Maybe something like that.
Okay. And I guess Peter, were you sort of looking for something that's maybe a little bit more permanent?
Yeah, something where if I could. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Peter. And I guess besides that 50,000 here that you have, just sounds like maybe you'd like enough to, I guess, carry those burial expenses and then maybe leave some more behind if you possibly could.
So you're assuming right now.
Okay.
You got to get information. What information is he missing, Brandy or Tyler?
Yeah, so it'd be like, wow, and geez, I can't believe they put you with one of those term policies. So when that expires, like, would you need something for the burial expenses too, or what does that look like?
Exactly it. So you got, like, that's the thing. We can't assume anything. We have to have this curiosity, like, okay, when that expires, like, are you just curious? Like, do you want something that's going to be there for you, that's going to be permanent? And they're going to say yes. You also need to ask them, when is that policy going to expire? Because, you don't have that data right now. You're just coming in brand new.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
Okay. New situation. Brandy, I have a term policy. It doesn't expire until I'm 95 years old. This is a fake situation. I just want something behind to the grandkids. First question.
Okay, so so your current policy you've had for a while, you said it's not going to expire until you're 95 and you want to leave. I'm sorry, when you said fake situation, did you mean like he has information incorrect or?
A fake situation is like most term policies don't. I'll give you a new situation. The term policy expires at age 85. I'm 65. I am not dying. I am not dying before age 80. I'm sorry. I'm not living past 80 is what I'm saying. Like, I know I'm not gonna live past 80. I'm that type of guy. I'm not living past 80. I know that's going to be there for my burial expenses. I just need something for the boys, the extra kids.
Okay, so it sounds like you just want to leave a little extra behind to your grandkids there. Okay, and so with your policy, I mean, when you said that's going to expire at 80, I mean, are you concerned about if you do outlive that?
No, I mean, my granddaddy, he never lived past 75, so I think, and it's cheap. I don't want to change that.
Gotcha. Okay, so you've had that for a while. It's pretty cheap. You have a good amount of coverage. And so your main concern, it sounds like you just want to leave something behind for the grandkids. And was there a reason why that policy isn't giving you enough peace of mind as far as what you want to leave behind?
Good question. Yeah, I just that 50,000 is going to go to my, that's going to be enough for they'll bury me with that, and I don't know what they're going to do extra. I just want to just have it just in case. Maybe leave them a little extra. They've been good to me. I want my grandson to go to like college or something.
Awesome.
So, yeah,
So
I'm not really
just-
sure. I was looking around.
Okay, so just like an I love you gift, see what's out there, see if you can leave them extra, show them that you love them. And with that 50,000, are you planning on going like more of the formal burial route, or are you looking at cremation? Are you still not sure yet?
Yeah, I'd say like the burial's fine, and then yeah.
The burial. Okay, so even with a really fancy formal burial, you're still looking at leaving about 25,000 left over. Were there other expenses that you were concerned about, or?
Yeah, I have like $30,000 left on the mortgage. So I just want to make sure that's kind of taken care of.
Okay, gotcha. All right. And so I guess I know you're stressing the importance of leaving something behind to your grandkids. I guess were you kind of wanting something that wasn't going to expire on you, something just kind of guaranteed to be there for your grandkids no matter what? Is that kind of what you were looking for?
Yeah, I'm gonna stop you there. This is the magic wand situation. Okay, So the value is now you create the value. So, okay, Brandy, so you have that 50,000, maybe 20,000 would go to the burial expenses, and you have 30,000 that's going to be left on the mortgage. So, if something happened tomorrow, you basically give, all your dues will be taken care of. You don't have anything to leave behind your kids, right? So this is your biggest concern. You want something that's definitely going to be there for the kids. So you see the little math equation there? It's like, okay,
Yes.
if something happens to you tomorrow, 20,000 will go to the kids, to your burial. And then what's going to be left over is going to be everything that you need to pay for the mortgage, so that you've probably realized that you don't have anything to leave behind to the kids. Is that your biggest concern? And that's how you create that value. Tyler, do you feel the same way there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, you have to use their situation to understand, like, why in the heck does it even make sense to have life insurance? It doesn't even make sense, because if you don't tell him about the 30,000 that's going to pay off this mortgage, he's like, I probably don't even need it. I have that. The mortgage is going to be. He's not going to think about it. He think he has a big policy, but you have to let him understand his situation, and then you sell him on the value. So you realize that if that policy, if something happens to you in the next few years, everything's going to be kind of taken up, and you don't want anything, and there's nothing left to the grandkids, right? Okay, gotcha. And were you looking for something that's going to expire on you, like that one policy you have? Or are you looking for something that's going to be guaranteed? Let's say you live a day over 80. Do you want something that's going to be there for you forever, that's going to be guaranteed to pay out to your kids? Which were you looking for? So the difference is I don't assume that he wants that. I have to ask him, especially if it's a term policy. This is kind of like a deeper level. If they're already sold on term, you have to resell them on whole life. And the way that you do that, you don't say that term is bad, or you assume that they want whole life. You got to help them make a logical decision on what they want. So would you want something, John, that is going to expire on you? Or are you really looking for, John, something that's going to be there for you for the rest of your life, that is, guaranteed to be there for your boys, and that you can go to bed at night no matter if it's tomorrow or in 30 years that your boys are taken care of? Which one would you rather have? I'd rather have term, Tyler. I'd rather have that. Term's fine. How would you respond? It's fine if it expires, as long as it's cheap. But I do have COPD.
Hang on, I missed the beginning of that framework. Was he looking for a term policy, or he has one?
He's just looking to leave something behind. He already has a term, so he values term.
Already has a term, but you got the COPD. Gotcha, Peter. Well, now that you have the COPD here, just shooting you straight, there's not going to be any company here in the state that would offer you additional term coverage, but we definitely can look at some options. I have a couple companies that would offer you that day one coverage for a policy that, is going to be there the rest of your life, something that's guaranteed to pay out. Yeah, I mean, they are still really affordable. Would you want to see what one of those whole life policies would look like for you?
Yeah, I guess whole life. That's my only option?
Yeah, man. With the COPD, that is your only option here, sadly. You got that other term back before you were diagnosed, huh?
Yeah, I got that when I was in my 30s.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. And when did you say that one expired again?
In like 3 years, when I turn 80.
Oh my goodness. So what would happen? Geez, 3 years, huh? What would happen, like, if you live to be 81? You're gonna have nothing in place?
Yeah, I'd probably just. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna live. I only think I have like 1 or 2 years left. But yeah, I guess.
Oh, come on, go easier on yourself over there. But I'm sure you. Well, so if you do live to 81, would you want something in place? That's gonna actually be there for your beneficiary. I didn't hear this.
Yeah.
Be there for your family there.
Yeah,
something that's guaranteed to pay out, because like those term policies are kind of a waste of money.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see what you have. I'd like to quote something like that.
Okay.
Cool.
Sorry, you caught me off guard. I was zoned out there when you first asked me. I had no idea.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to train on today. I want you guys to just really, really think about, like, how can I create. It's almost like helping people expose their situation, being logical and being nice about it, but also being like providing evidence that they're not in a good situation, or providing evidence where they could be in a better position, providing evidence where you as a sales individual can put them in a spot where their actual problem is solved. So the goal of today is like identify what the real problem is. Like, what is this person's real problem? I want you guys to understand, like, why the heck do they want life insurance right now? This doesn't make any sense. And then you be that detective of like, okay, let me break this down. Okay. And then try to solve that initial value proposition of what their real issue is, and then ask the questions around that. And if you don't feel like you've hit the value on the head, do not move forward until you ask more questions. That is just the biggest lesson I've learned, is there's a reason why they filled this out. Now we got to understand exactly why it is. And then you just have that childlike curiosity of like, what the heck is going on? You already have a $10,000 policy, Miss Betty. Why do you want more? Very direct question. Oh, when my husband passed away, there was like $3,000 extra expenses. I don't want my son John to have to pay for it. Okay, so you're very comfortable with your policy that you have now. You just want to make sure if there are, God forbid, any extra expenses, maybe like, casket expenses, inflations, things like that, you don't want John picking them up. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Okay, and if something did happen to you and you didn't get the life insurance, express the need, like, would John be able to come out of pocket for those $3,000 costs? No, he wouldn't. So what would happen? Would they just have to like raise money for you? And and you're back into the script again, but in a different position. And I think that's the biggest thing our cadence to remember. Is that clear for you guys?
It's a very good training.
Yeah, that was so helpful. This is seriously this is what's going to take me to the next level, because this is where I struggle when I don't know what to say or how to ask the questions. Yeah. So I'm definitely going to work on that.
It's almost like when we were getting off topic, when we transformed Tyler to a badass, we were like, Tyler, snap your finger, get back on track. Same thing here. If you just wave the wand, like, all right, wand, where's the magic value? That's how I think it was like, where can I create this value? I need to ask the questions. It'll take you guys to the next level, I'm sure.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brandy, which ones do you struggle with the most, or diving deep in, I guess?
I mean, I've gotten that situation, like with what Peter was saying, where somebody has a term, they value term because they've had it for so long, but to be able to just put it in that way, like, okay, so it sounds like right now, again, if something happens tomorrow, you are covered, this expense is taken care of, that expense is taken care of, but I mean, I guess you probably realize you don't have anything left over just for the grandkids. And so for that, were you looking for something that, kind of wouldn't expire, something just guaranteed to be there for them? Is that kind of what you were looking for? Did that sound better?
My golden question with people with term, and regardless of the situation, it kind of can fit every single situation. It's just like, I honestly, like, I don't know if it's bad or what, but I just try to make them feel stupid that they have a term policy. And I'm like, they put you with one of those term policies? Oh my gosh. And I sound like angry. And then I'm like, is there a reason you chose one of the policies that's going to expire on you? Like, I don't even focus on like anything else. I just like try to make them like scared out of their mind that this is going to expire. And like, I don't care how much coverage it is. I don't like, but like, if you can get them to instantly start doubting their term policy, just even a little bit, then you have like a door to walk through with everything else we just talked about. But if you don't, if you're over there like, well, terms aren't like, gonna be there, and like saying stuff, but like they're not in their head, they're like, this is just a salesperson. But if you're like Brandy, oh my gosh, they put you with one of the term policies, huh? Like, oh, you like have this tone like, oh, here's another person that's gonna bite the dust, like type vibe. And then they're like, what do you mean? And then, is there a reason, Brandy, like you chose to go with pay into a policy each month that's just gonna expire on you someday? And then like just sound like truly concerned. And then like, how would you even answer that if you had the term? Like, well, and like they don't even know how to answer. And then you're like, yeah, so I guess when you filled this out, you were probably looking for something like a little more permanent, something that's like guaranteed to pay out. Is that kind of what you were looking for? And then they're like, yeah, okay, well, blah, blah. And then you go into everything else we just talked about. But
they sell them.
Does term increase in price?
Some of them do.
Yeah,
it's like AARP. Or like most of them do have an increased term after like 3 to 5 years. It's based off like
most over 50.
Yeah, Colonial too.
So that would be a good question to ask. Has it ever gone up in price for you? Have you ever had to pay more than what you? Yeah.
We just educate them on them, like, okay, and did you want something that's gonna like, expire on you, and every 3 to 5 years, like the price keep going up on you, especially if they just got the term? Is that what you were looking for? Most of the time, these people don't even know. They're like, oh no, I didn't know that was. I was like, yeah, with Colonial, I mean, with like ARP, their policies will increase about every 5 years. Did they not make you aware of that by chance? And it's like you see it, you're curious, like, huh? Like I'm not like I could say like they didn't tell you that. Like, wow, they didn't tell you that. Like, why the heck did you get term? You're here to help be on their team rather than be like against them. And when you question someone's ability to make a good decision and they feel like you're attacking them, they'll just hang up the phone. So that's why you just have those. That's why Tyler and we train on just that curiosity framework, is because that's how you make people feel like you're liked. I think so. Good stuff, guys. Yeah, Brandy.
I'm so sorry because I know we're past the meeting time, but just real quick, just that call that I lost yesterday because I couldn't ask the question the right way. She had coverage. It was too expensive. So that question again that I would ask in that situation is like, okay, so I mean, it sounds like this is something really important to you. You've had it for, 20 years now. It just, I mean, have you thought about what it's going to look like if that $110 a month isn't sustainable? Is that the question I would ask first?
The question could be that, or I would say like, it sounds like you're reaching out because like you're kind of getting concerned that like you can't really keep that policy up. Are you most concerned that you want the life insurance, but you're just unsure if you can keep it because it's just getting too expensive? Is that what you're most worried about? And he's going to say yes. And then you ask that question. So you identify that that's the problem, and then you explain what it looks like. So sounds like that you value having the $20,000 policy, but you're just getting kind of worried that, if you can't make the payments, it's probably going to it's probably going to cancel on you. Is that your concern? And then you're going to say yes. She's going to say yes. Okay. And, have you thought about what that looks like? And that's your question. Have you thought about what that looks like if you can't cancel? Like, what are you most worried about? Is someone going to have to pay for your burial expenses? Kind of fill me in, or something like that.
Okay.
So try that question again. Like, just basically explain the value there is that her policy is going to cancel because she can't keep it. It's too expensive. So you want to let her know that's the problem. So how would you explain that to me?
Okay, Peter. So it sounds like you value the coverage. It's really important for you to have in place, but I guess are you just kind of reaching out because you're concerned that it's not really sustainable and kind of worried about it canceling on you? Is that your main concern?
Yeah, I'd clearly identify why they're here, why they're talking to you, Brandy, and that's exactly how I do it. Yeah, that's my concern. It's just getting expensive on me.
Okay, and have you thought about what the situation would kind of look like? God forbid if you weren't able to keep that.
No, not really.
Okay, and I do see your beneficiary here is listed as Micah. Is he in a position to where, if that did cancel on you, would he be able to come out, that $20,000 out of pocket for your burial?
Probably not.
Okay, and when you say probably not, are you talking like pulling from savings or
No.
what would that look like?
I mean, that's why I have the life insurance. That won't be the case. So.
Got it. Okay, so yeah, you definitely value the coverage. It's just worried about it not fitting the budget. Well, I can take a look here and see what we can help you with, Peter, and hopefully we can see if we can save you a little bit of money and while you can keep that value in place or that coverage in place.
Yeah. I would summarize it better like, we'll go ahead and see what we could do for you. You just want to make sure that at least you have something there for your burial expenses. Like, you can be specific. You want something there in place for your burial expenses, even if it's a little bit less coverage, to make sure that Micah is not paying for your burial expenses, correct?
Okay, that's the question.
Yeah, you basically are like saying the words. It's like a pre-close every time. It's like you just want. I don't know how to say it. It's like you are just trying to tell them like you have the control. Let's get them to respond to the questions that I know. If they say yes to this, like, you want to make sure that even if it's 10,000, something small and it's cheaper, you just want something that's going to be there for you, even though it's a little bit less coverage, that you have something there so Mike is not burdened for your burial expenses. Is that what you're looking for? And that's a clear yes.
Okay, so you want to make sure that even if it is a little bit less coverage, something that is guaranteed to be there that will pay for those burial expenses. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's how you do it. So that's what the value is. That's explaining the value and using that's what they really want, and that's why you just explain it back to them. But really good stuff. Another thing I would add, you can even add in there, it's like what Tyler said, like almost like the same term situation. It's like, if someone ever puts in a policy, like, and you're trying to replace a policy, stuff like, why did they put you with something so expensive? Like, that does not make any sense. You're so, like, why did they put you? Why did Lincoln put you with a company that's going to be like unsustainable for you for the rest of your life? Why'd they give you so much coverage? Oh, I don't know. They just told me it's gonna be the best, or told me it's gonna be the best. Okay, and so they put you with something even though you can't afford it, It makes no sense. So you're looking for something that you're gonna say yes. You're looking for something that even though if it's a little bit less coverage, you just want something that's guaranteed to be there for your burial expenses. You don't want anybody paying for it, and you just need something that's affordable for every month so you can keep it. You don't have to drop it. Correct? And then she's gonna say yes.
Awesome. Okay, I'm taking this with me. I feel like I've got ammo in my
Heck yeah.
pockets now.
Because that's lethal. When she affirms yes to that, you've already made the sale. Because then you want it to be clear. You want it to be very, very clear in the question asking, like moving into the application. So when they give you the objections, it doesn't make sense. Like if she's literally telling you, I want 10,000 and it's cheaper, and you give her, I want 10,000, it's cheaper, and she doesn't buy, you're like, what? Okay, Brandy, like you told me this, what you wanted, or like, is it not enough coverage for you? What are you most concerned about? Oh, it's not enough coverage. Okay, well, Miss Brandy, let me ask you this. You mentioned that you can't keep that policy for the 20,000, so you're going to pay on it for a few more months, right? And then when you can't make the payment, what's going to happen? Oh, I won't have any more life insurance. So would you say having something small that's going to be affordable, like you told me earlier, that you can keep for the rest of your life and cover those burial expenses, would that be better than having, I guess, nothing when that policy expires? Is that better than having nothing? Yeah. Okay. So what's your biggest concern? Do you just think it's like you're not getting enough coverage? Like what's the issue here? You really wanted this coverage to protect your family, right? And then you can just use all their previous words against them to create that value, to create that need for them and help them make a logical decision. But most people get too caught up in their emotions where they're gonna, she'll keep that policy for another 2-3 months. She can't afford it, and then she's gonna have to call you back again, rather than just helping her understand what the situation is now.
Awesome.
Cool beans.